Hebrews. This is our Prophets of Awakening. This is our Monday night class, the 30th of August, 2021. I'm gonna be dealing with the book of Hosea tonight, later on in class. I'm asking everybody to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button. This is a non-Messianic channel. We're dealing with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh is the Old Testament. The Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament, and they were given to Moses on Mount Sinai by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome everyone, and we're going to do our moment of silence, prayer, psalms, and then do a little current events. Okay. Yeah, that moment of silence is for Yahweh and it's Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts, and all that they are doing as we speak, orchestrating our deliverance and bringing about prophesied end time. Oh Lord, we come before thee at this hour and at this time to thank thee and praise thee for thy strength and for thy love and great power. Oh Lord, we come before thee with praise because we understand now who you are, and we appreciate you. We appreciate your love. We appreciate your wisdom. We appreciate your consistency. We appreciate your patience and understanding. And we understand your position in heaven and on the earth. Therefore, we come this day seeking love, wisdom, consistency of spirit, patience, and understanding. And with that being said, peace be unto you. Okay. Read the Psalms right quick. It's Psalm 22. It's a cry of anguish and a song of praise. It's a psalm of David. It says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my ruin? O my God, I cry in the daytime, but thou hearest not, and in the night season, and am not silent. But thou art holy, O thou that inhabitest the praises of Israel. Our fathers trusted in thee, and thou didst deliver them. They cried unto thee, and were delivered. They trusted in thee, and were not confounded. But I am a worm, and no man, a reproach of me, and despise the people. All they that see me laugh me to scorn. They shout out their lips. They shake their heads, saying, he trusted on the Lord, that he would deliver him. Let him deliver him, seeing he delighteth in him. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was upon my mother's breast. I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my God from my mother's belly. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have compassed me. Strong bulls of Bashan have beset me around. They gape upon me with their mouths as a raven and a roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melted in the midst of my bowels. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue cleaves unto my jaws. And thou hast brought me into the dust of death. For dogs have compassed me. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I may tell all my bones. They look and stare upon me. They part my garments among them and cast lots upon my vesture. But be not thou far from me, O Lord, for my strength has thee to help me. Deliver my soul from the sword, my darling from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth, for thou hast heard me from the horns of the unicorn. I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I praise thee. Yet that fear of the Lord, praise him, all ye the seed of Jacob. Glorify him and fear him, all ye the seed of Israel, for he hath not despised nor abhorred the afflictions of the afflicted, neither hath he hid his face, excuse me, from him. But when he cried unto him, he heard. Our praise shall be of thee in the great congregation. I will pay my vows before thee that fear him. The meek shall eat and be satisfied. They shall praise the Lord that seek him. Your heart shall live forever. All the ends of the world shall remember and turn unto the Lord, and all the kindreds of the nations shall worship before thee. For the kingdom is the Lord's, and he is the governor among the nations. All they that be fat upon the earth shall eat and worship. All they that go down to the dust shall bow before him, and none can keep alive his own soul. His seed shall serve him. It shall be according to the Lord for a generation. They shall come and shall declare his righteousness to a people that shall be born, that he have done this. This was Psalm 22. It's a cry of anguish and a song of praise. It's a song of David. Anybody have any comments? Okay.
Verse 16.
16?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what the hijack used
Okay. Let me
in the
read that.
New Testament.
Okay. They use a lot of them in here.
Right.
Yeah,
But this is David talking.
right. It's Psalm 22, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Verse 16 says, my dogs have compassed me about. The assembly of the wicked have enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet, right? So this is where the story developed there, right here, that they got in the New Testament.
Right.
Ain't that something?
Right. And there's another scripture. I don't know if it's Isaiah or Jeremiah where they was trying to say that was JC, and they were saying the same exact verse about the dogs and him being pierced.
Yeah, that's Zechariah chapter 12, I think. Let me see.
See.
Yeah, that's Zechariah, I think. Zechariah chapter 12, maybe 10. Let me see. Yeah, chapter 12, verse 10. Says, let me know when you get it.
Got it.
And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourning for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. That's the verse you're talking about?
No, it was one, I think it was Isaiah.
Okay. So that's
I
one
don't
right
know.
there.
But that's one too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Psalms 22, verse 1, it says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That's what JC posted said remember on the cross?
Right. Typology.
Like, why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my room? You see that? Okay. Anybody got any current events?
I don't have any current events, but Kenneth is trying to get in.
Okay.
Thank you. I dropped off somehow. I think I probably exited out by mistake. Thank
Okay.
you, Gladys. You got to check on me now, Leonard.
Okay. Yeah,
You're
it's got
welcome,
two.
Kenny.
It's got two rows down there. I can't see the bottom row.
I'm just messing with you, brother.
It's all good. It's all good. Uh, Anybody got any current events?
You could tell us about what went down in your neck of the woods with the hurricane. That's current.
Okay, I got one. I think one. Yeah, one of them is about that. Let me do that one first, right here. Okay. It don't look good from it's in New Orleans. Look like it's a
Trying to get one of our sisters to go check on our hometown, Leonard, but somebody declined.
okay. It is something. Here we go right here. It said nearly 1 million homes along the Gulf Coast might be damaged or destroyed by Hurricane Ida. So that sounds like pretty much that's almost worse than Katrina. It says storm surge could damage or destroy homes in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi. CoreLogic data suggests as a Category 4 hurricane, Ida is expected to cost approximately 220 billion in damages. Ida will reach the Gulf Coast this Sunday evening on the 16th of the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. Hurricane Ida is burning toward the Gulf Coast and Category 4 storm could damage and destroy nearly 1 million homes in the region, data suggests. Hurricane Ida threatens approximately 940,000 homes with storm surge damage, according to the CoreLogic. Central Louisiana coastline is poised to bear the brunt of the damage as the storm surge winds and extreme rainfall will pounce around the state, forecasts indicate. Okay. I think this here was yesterday. Okay. Get another one.
So it didn't affect Lake Charles area that much, did it?
No.
Okay, that's good.
Is there some?
And nobody, did anybody get hurt?
Yeah, they had some damages. I just didn't. Yeah, they had some damage. I'll probably report about that on I guess Tuesday, tomorrow. I didn't get a chance to get to it today. Yeah. So I got this right here though. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yes.
It said Biden calls a black advisor boy. Ain't that something? During the FEMA
Oh,
briefing.
snap. No, he didn't.
Yeah, President Biden called a black advisor boy during the Federal Emergency Management Administration briefing on Monday. Yeah, how can you make that big a mistake? The president used the
Got that
term
right.
introduced his senior advisor, Cedric Raymond, as former Louisiana congressman. I'm here with my senior advisor and boy, who knows Louisiana very, very well. And in New Orleans, Cedric Raymond, Biden said at a press briefing with a FEMA after Hurricane Ida rocked Louisiana. It says Biden accused of making racist comments with you ain't black retort. Okay. So yeah, like I was saying before, yeah, you know what I mean. You got together and got this guy in the White House, and now the first thing he do call somebody a boy.
Isn't the UN here investigating stuff like this? So it's like,
Supposed to be.
yeah. And so they sitting at the table, and this is how he's serving them.
Ain't this something? Yeah,
Yeah,
like I said, how can they be that off to put somebody in there like that and you turn right around and do that?
I think
That's
something's
crazy.
up. Something about to happen.
Well, they got a bunch of people calling for him to resign.
I ain't just talking about Biden. I'm talking about all over this nation. They doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Oh, right, exactly. Yeah,
Some shaky real quick.
yeah, you right. I got one more right here. This is says scientists concerned about a new COVID variant. So it's another one out there now, potential to spread and evade the vaccines. COVID-19 variant increased mutation have raised concerns among research scientists that it could potentially evade the vaccines and spread more easily within the community. And there's
Not really, because we know the vaccine does not have. It's not like the other vaccines that give you the what do you call that? Antibodies. That's not what they giving these people anything in them vaccines. You know, anything but COVID is there. So sky's the limit as to what's going to happen to folks.
Okay. So it says the C12 variant was first identified in May in South Africa, and it's accounted for less than 1% of COVID cases worldwide. Scientists from the South African National Institute of Communicable Diseases and the KwaZulu-Natal Research, Innovation and Sequencing platform believe the new variant prevalence may be underrepresented and advocated to continual research on the variant to determine if its mutation makes it more dangerous than the Delta variant. There's some says in the study, which has yet to be peer reviewed, the authors reported they found a potential variant of interest within the C12 lineage. C12 has had multiple changes in the spike protein that are associated with the increased transmittable ability and vaccine evasions, which has been found in other variants of the concern. The greater concern, according to the report, is that the mutation rate for the C12 lineage is 1.7 times faster than the global rate. It is important to highlight this lineage, given its concerning constellation of mutations, the report said. So he's saying, so many words, this thing is more dangerous than the variant that's out there now. Is there something? It's crazy.
So what's this one? The other one is Delta. So what's this now? Sigma?
I guess. Ain't no telling. You might as well call it Sigma.
I caught that one. It's going Greek, huh?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
You get some? Yeah, I just happened to pick up. Let me see what's going on with this right here. It says the most high ruler in the kingdom of men, and it gives to whomsoever he will, and sit up over right. Exactly. Yeah, gotta remember that. Right. Okay. So with that being said, I'm gonna play this right here. I got a couple of videos I want to play and discuss. This is like some need to know. It's I don't know if anybody ever heard of the Afghanistan Papers.
No.
Okay, I'm gonna play this. Then we'll talk about it.
I'm Amy Goodman with Nermeen Sheikh as we continue to look at the situation in Afghanistan and the U.S. withdrawal. On Wednesday, President Biden defended his handling of the withdrawal in an interview on ABC News with George Stephanopoulos.
No mistakes? No, I don't think it could have been handled in a way that we're going to go back in hindsight and look, but the idea that somehow there's a way to have gotten out without chaos ensuing, I don't know how that happens.
But just last month, on July 8th, Biden rejected the idea a Taliban takeover in Afghanistan was inevitable. Several top Democrats have vowed to probe Biden's Afghanistan exit strategy. A report from the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction said the U.S., quote, struggled to develop and implement a coherent strategy over the last 20 years. In 2020, while on a campaign trail, then candidate Biden acknowledged U.S. officials had lied to the public about the war in Afghanistan. For more, we're joined by Craig Whitlock, investigative reporter for the Washington Post, long covered Afghanistan, the author of the new book just out, The Afghanistan Papers, A Secret History of the War. It goes beyond Biden to look at how the past three presidents, Trump, Obama, and George W. Bush, deceived the public year after the year about the longest war in U.S. history. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Craig. I mean, the whole debate and Congress now saying they're going to look at this exit strategy obscures what the U.S. did in Afghanistan for the past 20 years. And that's what you so deeply look at in the Afghanistan Papers. First, describe what they are.
The Afghanistan Papers are hundreds of interviews, notes and transcripts of interviews that the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan had conducted with key officials who played important roles in the war over 20 years. These were documents that were not made public until the Washington Post had to sue the government to obtain them under the Freedom of Information Act. It took us 3 years to obtain these documents, but what they show is, as you stated earlier, the public narrative was that the U.S. was always making progress. All these presidents said we were going to win the war, and yet in private, these officials were extremely pessimistic. They said they didn't have a campaign plan, they didn't have a strategy, they didn't understand Afghanistan, and thought the war was unwinnable.
Craig, well, I guess the critical question is, given all of the research that you did and what you found revealed in the Afghanistan Papers, were you surprised at all that Afghanistan fell so quickly to the Taliban? I mean, really in a matter of days, provincial capital after provincial capital, and then Kabul on Sunday.
Well, I was surprised that it happened so quickly. That said, I think it was pretty obvious that the Afghan government really didn't have any popular support, or very little. It's certainly been well documented that the Afghan security forces, the army and the paramilitary police, had real problems, that the U.S. government had spent more than $85 billion to train and equip this force, and yet it was barely functioning at the end. I think what we saw in the last week were just commander after commander in the Afghan forces saw which way the wind was blowing, knew the Afghan government wasn't going to last, and so they switched sides very quickly, either under threat from the Taliban or, for offers of money. So the Afghans, this is not uncommon for them. They know they've had to suffer under 40 years of civil war or fighting with outside powers, and to survive, they've had to very quickly judge who's going to win and how they should end up on the right side.
So, Craig Whitlock, there are two issues here over this 20 years. And if you could take us back through time, because again, what we are not getting is the brutality of the U.S. war and occupation. And the Taliban continually saying their main goal was to throw out the foreign invader. Talk about what the U.S. covered up. Then there's the issue of the corruption of the government and the U.S. involvement with that, the Afghan government. But the record of the massacres, the working with warlords, the oppression caused by the occupation.
Yeah, it's not a pretty history, the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan. As you mentioned, involvement with the warlords. Part of the problem was that the population of Afghanistan saw the United States as allying itself with warlords who had pretty brutal records during the 1990s, and certainly a long and deep history of corruption. And here was the United States partnering with them, and frankly, spending billions of dollars on the Afghan government, which went into the warlords' pockets. So the population didn't see the United States as bringing democracy and equal rights to Afghanistan. They saw them as propping up a corrupt and illegitimate government. The Taliban certainly has a very brutal record. I don't mean to minimize that in any regard, particularly how they treat women and girls. But in the end, many Afghans, particularly in rural areas, said, look, we don't like the Taliban, but we really hate our own government. At least the Taliban, we see them as Afghans. They're more sympathetic to our religious beliefs, and they're not here to help with the foreigners. So I think in the end, a lot of people saw the Taliban as the lesser of two evils.
And let's go back to the very beginning, right? When George W. Bush invaded Afghanistan, in that period when Rumsfeld was the defense secretary, you had the Taliban saying they would surrender in December if just Mullah Muhammad Omar was allowed to live with dignity in Kandahar, where they established the Taliban. Rumsfeld said no. You have, even before that in October, when Afghanistan said, we will hand over Osama bin Laden, Bush said no.
Well, I do think the Taliban offers to hand over bin Laden were maybe a bit overstated. They had many opportunities to do that, and I think they weren't sincere. The question I think you're raising, which is an important one, is there were opportunities to try and bring the Taliban into the fold after the U.S. invasion in 2001. The Taliban government was toppled relatively quickly, but in retrospect, that was the moment to try and bring these factions together in Afghanistan to try and have some kind of stable consensus of a political system. Instead, the United States thought it had won a clear-cut military victory. It thought it had not just defeated the Taliban, but vanquished them. It lumped them together in the same boat with Al-Qaeda as terrorist groups, and so it just saw no need to negotiate with them. The problem was that over time, the Taliban gradually came back because, unlike Al-Qaeda, they were really woven into the fabric of Afghan society. This wasn't a group you could eliminate, you could vanquish. They had too much support in certain parts of the country. And I think that was the miscalculation the Americans made from the beginning, was the need to bring stability to Afghanistan. You had to bring all the actors into the fold.
And Craig, can you talk about what you think the responsibility is now of the U.S. to people in Afghanistan, not only in terms of refugees and humanitarian aid, but also the fact that broader humanitarian assistance, the donor economy is under threat now with the U.S. withdrawal, and such a large part of Afghanistan is still dependent on donor aid, the government as well as the armed forces. So that, as well as the Taliban's record on opium production, what the Taliban did when they were last in power from 96, and what you expect them to do now. Afghanistan is still, I think, the largest or second largest producer of heroin in the world.
Well, that's right, the largest by a long shot. These are all great points. I mean, the fact that Afghanistan's economy has been propped up by international aid, and frankly also by the opium trade. That's the war economy and the drug economy is what has kept Afghanistan going for a number of years. Now all of a sudden you have the Taliban in charge, complete charge. What are the United States and other donor nations going to do about? Are they going to cut off their funding? That's only going to set back and hurt the Afghan people even more. It's a real paradox and real challenge right now to figure out how is the world going to deal with the Taliban. Look, like it or not, they have control of the country right now. Afghanistan is still very, very fragile. And how is this going to play out in the coming, not just days? Everybody's focused on what's going on at the airport in Kabul, but how's this going to play out over the long term? And I don't think anyone has a clear answer to that.
Okay, any comments?
Right. I was saying those opioids.
Okay.
They need it. That's why they, I think trying to start a war. It's too much money.
To lose.
Right. Trying to get control of it. I mean, they got control of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I what's it their business being over there? It's like they're the gatekeepers to the world.
Right.
Yeah. So it's got to be something ridiculous as to why they got to have their hands in their pockets, I should say.
Okay. Let me play this other video. I think this is it's like a urgent.
Shalom, family. We're in the metropolitan Detroit area, as I said in an earlier video, and our children are getting a chance to see what it's like in the big city. Some of our younger children that don't know anything about this. So far, I've taken them by the house that I've grown up in which it looks like a war zone now. Okay? It looks like a war zone, just totally different. It's amazing what a decade or two could do to a community. Okay? We'll be taking them by my husband's family's house where he grew up. We're going to be taking them to a number of different places to get a chance to experience what life was like for us when we lived in the big city. Right now, we're at the house where my husband and I got married, which is family's house, and it's really wonderful being able to share how this whole family was formed and bringing them back to see the good and the bad. You see. And as we watch some of the news broadcasts of things that are going on in and around metropolitan Detroit, our children are understanding why we made the choices that we did. They are understanding that sometimes life can be a little rough in the big city. We talk to them very vividly about what is to come, okay? How important it is that we learn how to be self-sufficient. That is one of those lessons that all of us must learn, because there will be a day and time to where inflation will take the cost of food up so high that it will be difficult to even buy a loaf of bread, okay? So being able to do things on your own and take care of your own living and livestock and growing food and vegetables and fruits and what have you, that's going to be a very important skill to have. Unfortunately, a lot of our people have gotten used to a system that takes care of them. I did a video some years ago talking about food stamps and how many of our people have made that a way of life, okay? Not to frown on anyone who needs this, but what I'm trying to say here is one of these days, the cord is going to be cut on that. And so what will be your options then? Will you opt to rob someone? Will you look for other ways to take care of yourself? Or will you try to do something now? Okay? It's very important that we look at the here and now, that we have time. We have some time to where we can prepare. If you have the time, you shouldn't make any excuses whatsoever, because if we could just fast forward, I'm going to say 5 years, because not many of us can look ahead and say in a year from now, things are going to be rough. We're just thinking that this gravy train is going to continue. You know what I'm saying? We can't even fathom a world without some type of government assistance, or a world without grocery stores. We can't even wrap our brains around something like that, because we're so used to this. We're so used to modern conveniences. But what if modern conveniences no longer existed? What if you couldn't go to the store and get a carton of eggs? What would be your plan then? And so it is very important that our people kind of shed this lazy mindset that they've gotten into. Many of us have gotten so used to being able to just buy from others that we think this opportunity will always be there. Not trying to scare anyone, but being able to take care of yourself is so very important. Guess what? We're not 100% there. We are a long ways away from that. But this is something we're working towards. This is something that we see as very, very important for our family. We don't want to have our children in a position to where they have to worry about where they're going to get their next meal. What are we going to eat? How will we feed ourselves? We don't want our children to be in that position. We don't know how long we as the parents have on this earth, you see. So we want them to already have it in their minds that doing for self is what is important. If you can't go to the store and swipe your food stamp card and get a cart full of food, what will you do? That is one of those questions that many of us refuse to even address. We don't want to deal with questions like that because we're like, well, you know what? I don't have to worry about that right now, so I'm not going to worry about it anytime soon. But we've already seen the handwriting on the wall. Around this country, they're starting to have more and more glitches with their system to where the cards aren't working or the machines aren't working or systems are failing or this is happening or that's happening. You don't want to be stuck in a position where there's going to be a permanent glitch, to where there's going to be a permanent shutdown. And you'll be just like some of the young ladies that they featured on the news. And I find it kind of funny. Whenever they want to talk about glitches and things like that in the system, they always find a black face to go behind it, when black people do not represent the majority in food stamps and government benefits. They do not represent the majority. But whenever they want to shame someone, they put them on the news, and you hear the young sister saying things like, "What am I going to do? How are we going to feed our children?" They want to make it seem as though we are the face of so-called black people are the face of government assistance when we are not. Okay. All I want to do is encourage my brothers and sisters to do is to look ahead. Don't think about just the here and now. Okay, there's more than just today. What about tomorrow? What about next year? What about 5 years from now? What will your position in life be? Okay, and if you're not sure about that, now is the time to make some positive advances toward what you need to be doing. I don't care what it is, whether it's securing yourself some land or learning how to grow food, learning how to raise livestock, whatever it may be. You need to make some positive advances towards that goal. And don't always assume that you have time on your hands, okay? Because the scripture does say that like a snare, that turmoil and chaos is going to come upon all those that dwell upon the earth. And so what position will you be in? Will you be one of those who are completely unprepared, or will you be one of those who saw solutions before the crap hit the fan? And with that, I will say shalom.
Okay. Any comments?
Yep, she got a point. All these other folks who run up the census, I can guarantee you they get more food stamps than any black women or men out there with children.
Right. Exactly. But they're gonna do that on regardless. They're always gonna put us in a bad light. The chance they get. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody have any comments or questions about something? That they want to find out more about, or something they came across, or something they heard. Anybody have any questions about that? Or comment?
I do.
Okay.
I was watching this little TikTok video, and they was talking about King Uriah.
Okay.
And they were saying that they have found a stone, and they showed a picture of King Uriah, and he had a hook nose. He looked like a Edomite. And they were saying that proves that the Israelites weren't black because of King Uriah. I don't know about him.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't believe that. Right. I wouldn't believe that for 1 minute.
Oh, now I have one. The Apocrypha of Abraham.
Okay.
Okay, so you got this book, right?
Yes.
Okay, on page 108. Wait a minute, make sure that's the right one. Yeah. When they refused to make bricks for the Tower of Babel, and I guess Abraham and about, I think it was like 11 other men, they refused to break bricks so that they can build the Tower of Babel.
Okay.
And yeah, and so this story here is different because they're trying to say that or they wrote in here that his brother Haram
Right.
was burned into stake as a result of going for not participating. I guess he ran away, but anyway, the guys they were able to get away. But anyway, and so I guess my question is, which one of those stories is true? Is it this one or the other one that we read about in is that Jasher?
Yeah.
Where-
That's the other one.
No, okay, thank you.
Right. Right. Because that one that don't add up. You know, timeline.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, that's what I'm doing too. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, Leonard.
Okay.
Yeah, remember when we talked yesterday, we was going to talk about did you run across the Apocalypse of Abraham, and for chapters 22 and 23, where the Lord of hosts had divided up, explained the division of people on the earth. The people that weren't of his choosing were all created for in their time and place as like base wickedness. They actually belong to Satan.
Okay.
Did you run across that?
I haven't dealt with that book of Enoch. I mean the book of Abraham. You talking about the Apocrypha of Abraham?
Yes.
Yeah, I read it, but it's been a while since I read it. But we know Abraham. We know Satan got children, right?
Right.
Right, and that's the first time I ran across where he explained specifically that any person outside of his chosen people are instruments of Satan as his pleasing.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I didn't realize. Go ahead.
when you read the scriptures, a lot it alludes to that. But you know, like I said, people not reading it in that content. But when I was reading the book of Adam and Eve, it says that uh, Lucifer came to Tubal, right, and told him how to make weapons of war, how to make swords.
Mm-hmm.
So it's telling you right there, pretty much, you know, he got some kind of dealings with them because he also came to Cain.
Mm-hmm.
He appeared to Cain and dealing with Cain before as when he built Enoch, the city. So you know when you just reading that in the right context, in the right frame of mind, you can see he not coming to those and giving those other people no instructions, and they listening to him. But Cain and Cain descendants, he's like dealing with them on wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, in chapter 23, it actually says that Azazel was intertwined with Eve.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay. And he said he stood over Adam and Eve when they were intertwined.
Right.
And it said it was the great dragon when Adam said not Adam, Abraham was given that vision by the Lord of hosts. He said, "Who is the third being there?" He said, "That's the great dragon."
Right.
And he gave a description of him with six wings and stuff. So that's what I wasn't sure when I talked to you we was going to discuss. Well, we can talk about it on another time to get some clarity on that.
What page
Right.
is that on?
In the Apocrypha, um,
Of
I have
Abraham.
the pseudo Apocrypha, but if you go to the Apocalypse of Abraham, it's going to be chapters 22 and 23 is the one talking about Eve. And at the latter part of the chapter 23, you start talking about the division.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Leonard, I have a question based on that video that was sent to everybody by Michelle.
What
Uh,
is it?
Beg pardon?
What is the video?
The one where they got the lady hanging upside down.
Oh, okay.
That, I don't know. I'm an activist, so there ain't no shame in my game. I guess my position when I'm a thinker now. So Ishmaelites are the Arabs, right?
Right.
Okay, so who fashioned and formed them to be so wicked and cruel to females?
I would say his interactions with Japheth. He ended up intermingling with and connected himself with Japheth, and because like I said, look at Arabs now, so-called Arabs, how they look. That's not how they originally looked.
Exactly.
Right. So I would think a lot of that had the intermingling part of it, and they didn't receive Japheth's countenance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Well, ain't nothing personal, but I wouldn't even show that to my daughter. I was telling her about it. I know I'm not going to show that to you. I don't know. It's just me.
When I saw that video, it made me think about when I was in Kuwait. They are very cowardly men, because of men of our stature that regardless of our size in the United States, if you stand boldly towards one of them, they will cower. And I think this is just my opinion, their approach towards women is the approach that other people have towards black men. They have that same kind of evil towards women, and you'll see the same kind of evil if you look at the Indian country and their caste system. It don't make a difference how intelligent you are and what you can offer the community as a whole. It's just simply, we hate you because you are a lower class person. We hate you because you are a female. We hate you because you are a black man. So that's just a cowardliness that they just have across the board.
Right.
Yeah, I knew something wasn't right because I said, "Nah, I know Abraham didn't produce this here." So I know something else got to be in the mix of that.
Right. Exactly. Right. It also lets you. It also just that's a first-hand account of him tampering with the information.
Yesterday, Leonard, didn't you show something showing that the nature of the actual nature as a whole, as our people, as kind, humble, willing to forgive, and they're basically willing, in summation, willing to work and be constructive towards their to people.
Right. That was on one of the videos from the Renaissance channel. He was talking about how when they came to get, it's different. It's different nationalities of people in Africa. We ended up in getting caught up in that because we fled from Israel and we ended in Africa. But we said when they started looking for slaves, they preferred the Israelite because he was docile, and then he was quick to forgive. He didn't hold grudges long, and then he was hard worker. So that's how he made. That's how Adam's sinners are. They're not, that's what being human means. You don't sit around. Look how long Esau and his descendants had a grudge with us ever since what happened with Jacob and Esau back when Jacob got the blessing. They didn't held that grudge all the way to the day. That's inhumane. That's not human. But the Israelites don't hold no grudges like that.
Right, exactly.
And all Ishmael, he got a grudge. All of them got grudges against Israel. That's long duration. That's inhuman.
Well, that apocalypse I've just talked to was just talking about the apocalypse of Abraham. If you read chapter 23, it will tell you that from their conception, there's people in the world that are just created and desire evil. And that video is classically, it made my skin crawl. I have 4 daughters and 1 granddaughter. No, I got a couple of things for people like that. Forgive me, but they just desire evil. That's what they are, created strictly for evil.
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
Right. And they done prove that over and over again. Matter of fact, every chance they get, they show you what's up with them. But we continue to try to
$1 trillion worth of proving it in years.
Yeah, and then we steady trying to get along with them.
Aqua Michelle shared a movie with Aqua Eliana and I called Goodbye Uncle Tom. And
Yeah. You never heard that?
Man, no, I'd never seen it.
Okay, yeah, everybody need to watch that.
Man, and right, and they were just everything that you've been teaching us, you could just see it being played out.
Right. Yeah,
And they were even talking about eating us.
Right. Everybody need to watch that because I mean that's a wake up call because if you see firsthand that it's ain't no we ain't come from the same we ain't originate from the same places. Ain't no such thing as one blood. Those people originated from a different place we originated from. Just like what's that?
What's the name of that movie?
It's Goodbye Uncle Tom. You can bring it up on YouTube.
That movie ain't no joke, y'all. I'm watching it, and it's just a lot of the scenes I had to turn my head. I couldn't even fix my eyes to look at what they were doing. And
yeah, you gotta watch it.
At first, I was mad at the heathen for the way that they was treating us, but then my spirit changed, and I'm like, we really messed up. All those things that I've been reading about in First Kings, Second Kings, Chronicles, all of that, we really thought that we was going to be able to get away with turning our back on the Creator. And for this to be his wrath upon us is really devastating.
Right. And like I was saying before, like I said, we're not really reading the scripture for what it's saying because even in that instant right there, he told when you go to let's look at it. All right, go to Isaiah chapter 14. Isaiah 14. I'm thinking this. No, it ain't 14. Let me find it. Chapter 3, verse 16, starting at verse 16. Let me know when you get it.
Got it.
So this the verse a lot of people go through the judgments on the daughters of Zion. Moreover, the Lord said, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, walking with the stretched forth necks and wu-tang eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making tingling with their feet. Therefore the Lord will smite thee with the scab of the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and the Lord will discover thy private parts. So when he say he's gonna discover your private parts, he gonna strip you buck naked. So what he talking about? Well, they got everything right here. He brought them from Egypt, brought them into the land of Canaan, built that land all up around them, got strong men protecting them, and they got all kind of, I'm gonna read that in a minute. They got everything they need. They got the gold, they got the change of apparel, all that. But that wasn't enough. So it says, Remember, he said he's going to strip them naked, right? 18. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of thy tinkling ornaments about thy feet, and thy coils, and their round tires like the moon, and the chains, and the bracelets, and the mufflers, the bonnets, the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands, the tablets, and the earrings, the rings, the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles, and the whimpers, and the crisping pins, the glasses, and the fine linen, and the hoods, and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be a stench, and instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness, and instead of a stomacher or a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth, and a burning instead. And the men shall fall by the sword and by the mighty in war, and her gates shall gates shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit down upon the ground. So when you watch that, you see exactly he did just what he said he's gonna do. He stripped them naked. But they want to take that, what he's saying right here, and make some kind of symbology out of it. But he said, you got all these clothes on, all this fine stuff now. Say, but because of this right here, it's gonna come a time I'm gonna strip you buck naked. You ain't gonna have no clothes on in front of everybody. And ain't that what they did at the slave market?
That's what they showed in that movie so well.
And that was the movie. That was this movie. But nothing they can do.
Nothing.
Got them in a big old, got them in a line about a mile long, number of Israelite women and big old fat white man putting grease and oil, Lord, on themselves.
Oh man.
All of them buck naked.
The men too. Oh man.
Yeah, raping. And then you go to Africa where the 10 tribes is. All you have to do is watch it. When they come in with a little food or a little food to get them, they give them what they have. When they're leaving, the kids and the people running behind the truck trying to get some more food, they buck naked.
I just kept thinking about Deuteronomy 28. You know, naked and want of all things. They had our men naked, shaved their heads, made them bathe in things that I'm sure was like burning their skin up, was messing with the babies, separating the babies was separated from the mamas. It was terrible.
Right. And that's what he said. We're doing this prophecy right there, but we not reading scriptures right. That's exactly what he said. That's why they haven't never figured out that we Israelites, because they ain't reading scripture right. But once it dawned on you what these scriptures actually saying, then it ain't but one race of people you looking at this, the Israelites.
Right. And I just wanted to say one more thing. After watching that, I mean, clearly that's when Jacob's trouble began, because that was horrible.
Right. They can't. How is it gonna get any worse than that?
Right.
And
I had to see it for myself.
Go ahead.
I had to see it for myself. As a young person, you know, I've only been shown the history of, and it's just me personally. I can't speak for every person my age, but I was only seeing like the fire hoses. I was only seeing like the segregation and things like that, you know, but this movie, the way it played out was so surreal and so mind-blowing for me to know like this is a time frame, this is what was going on. And I have to admit that this is Jacob's trouble, to take a man's teeth out his mouth, just popping them out, just doing just things that you can't even imagine. And it also, and I'm gonna get off my rant, but it also show you so many different things. One, these other nations, the men from the other nations, they desire the daughters of Zion. They know that we look better than everything and anything they could possibly ever come with at home. And the women of the husbands of these wicked people are so hateful towards us because, you know, they stupid. They want to, the men pretend that they hate us and we animals and this and that, when really they love the way we smell. They love everything about us. And the Most High has made his people to be above them, built better than them. The men are built better. The women are built better. And it's just really, really disgusting. And it's my last thing. This movie also shows you that chart, you can't possibly, no other nation, because the other nations in the movie was help enslaving us, selling us. was raping the men and like doing sexual things with them and exploiting the children. Like, it was terrible. So no, y'all don't have this history, and y'all need to stop pretending that y'all are Hebrew Israelites and that y'all didn't go through the curses. Y'all want the blessings but don't want the curses. And I think that America and everybody else denies us being the Hebrew Israelites because to have done something so wicked, even though we in trouble because this is what we deserve for forsaking our father. But for them to do what they did, these demons, that they are so afraid of what's about to happen to them that they just want to pretend that we weren't them and it was just some other race of people, because y'all gonna have to pay for all of this. I'm done.
Right. Exactly. Right. Like I said, when you watch it, you understand. There's no way to get around who's who, and when it's dealing with the scriptures, because it is. And the thing about it, like I said, people not understanding about that is he gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob a promise that he was going to multiply them like the sands of the sea. Well, you see that in the video. That's what their problem was.
Right.
There was so many of them. They had access to so many of us. They just did us any kind of way.
Right.
So many. They was all over the place. They just doing what they want, everything, because it was so many, and they started bringing them in. They started coming in boatloads and boatloads. Started coming in. So ain't that what he said in Deuteronomy? Though I multiply you like the sands of the sea, I'm gonna reduce you to where you're gonna be small in number.
Yes, yes.
So you see all that in that movie.
Yes.
Because you can't fathom. Nobody can fathom what really was going on. When you see that, it all come rushing in, and even they countenance. Now you see they homosexual. It's in their DNA. Yeah. So another thing about that too is you got to understand about that. He took the melanin from Cain, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so that's why they so drawn to us. They lacking melanin. They drawn to the melanin. That's what the drama coming in there.
One interesting thing I noticed where I live at, they're doing a lot of road construction, and we've been having a lot of sunny days. But I've noticed, and just passing by, it just hit me, looking at these Edomites out there working in this direct sun. There's all this, you can tell the different tones of their colors of their hair.
Right.
But if they've been out there from the beginning of the summer on up until now and seeing the progress of the roads and construction, I noticed that the greater percentage of them that I saw on a regular basis, their hair is now turning red, and their skin, the hair is turning red when it was normally like a dark brown or something like that. It's
Right.
like turning back to its original tone, and you can see the guys when you're passing by the big hairy chubby ones.
Right.
Their skin, their hair from their head on their arms and whatnot is all turning red. And like I said, several of them had dark brown hair, some darker, different tones, but all of it is turned red.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that was I just never noticed it until then. I'm like, wow, that's the same guy's hair was dark, now it's red. That's the
Right.
same guy. I
That's
had to slow down and look. Say again.
That's an excellent observation, because you do notice that when they're in the sun, how their hairs like start to change colors and stuff like. But you just always dismissed it. It kind of goes blonde, reddish looking. Their beard color starts to change, and it makes you
Yeah,
wonder if they
exactly.
dyeing their hair. You know.
It goes
Right.
back to who they originally are, just like in troubled times and struggles that we go through. We go back to our original selves or say, we got to pray. We got to pray our way out of this. And we're going to pray harder and more sincere.
Right.
And they become more and more deviant.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Fact.
Right. I'm gonna play this right here, right quick, because see what you think about this.
Or shall I say, we all turn back to our original fathers.
Okay.
At the Pentagon right now, they'll update us on some news regarding Afghanistan. Jennifer.
Neil, we've just heard from sources on the ground in Afghanistan that Taliban guards at the airport are saying that the last American warplanes have left Kabul airport. There are no more U.S. warplanes at that airport. The American presence is gone from the airport. I can confirm with multiple U.S. officials that I've spoken to in recent moments, America's longest war is officially over. In fact, the last military transport plane took off and is almost out of Afghan airspace. It's at the border as we speak. So what we can say right now is that America's longest war is over. We expect a briefing here at the Pentagon any minute. If we look back on the cost of this war, Neil, 2,461 Americans killed in action, 13 of them in just the last week as they were carrying out this humanitarian mission to bring Americans and their allies to safety. 6,000 Americans evacuated since August 14th, 122,000 Afghan allies. In the past 20 years of war, more than 20,000 American service members were wounded fighting against the Taliban, the very same group that harbored the al-Qaeda terrorists who struck the United States on September 11th. That same group marched into Kabul on August 14th of this year, 20 years later. Today, they are back in control of Kabul. Neil.
So, Jennifer, the last plane left today. Do you know how many were evacuated today?
We do not have any of those figures. I know that in the last 24 hours, as of 3 a.m., 12.
So, do anybody believe that the war over?
No, just changed his face. It's what's that that type of lizard that changes its colors whatever it touch?
Oh, yeah.
Chameleon?
Is that iguana?
Yeah, the chameleon. Yeah, that's all it is.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I hope they don't think nobody believe that. Cause that's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't believe. You just killed 13 Marines, but the war over.
Well, not only that, didn't they say they evacuated 6,000 American citizens? Well, who's some other tens of thousands that they got up out of there?
Afghan nationals.
Oh,
And
my
there's no.
goodness.
Oh
And
yeah.
just
Yeah.
give up the opioids that simple. All those opioids, all those drugs, that simple? No. Mm-mm.
No, they bought the seeds with them. They're going to transplant them seeds over here in the U.S. Watch.
Okay. Let's see what he's talking about. It says, is it safe to say the word world means kingdom? Therefore, the world in John 3:16 refers to the white man's kingdom. Furthermore, does it seem Christianity promotes spinning globe theory? Okay. Yeah, well, I guess you can say that world means kingdom in John 3:16, but we know what's up with that. And then furthermore, it says, does it seem Christianity promotes a spinning globe theory? I'm lost on that one. Saying that's okay. Yeah. So you're saying Christianity promotes that the world is round? Yeah. Up until the time of Christianity, they believed it was flat. So it was after Christianity came on the scene when they started promoting that the world was round. Yeah. So I guess yeah, it's safe to say. I would say so. Okay. Let me play this right here, then I'm gonna go into the lesson. Okay, so here, wrong place. Let's see down here.
I really do pray that you are well in all your ways, yes, and that you're moving into living in your own wavelength, beloveds, in your own narrative, in your own story, because that is what is demanded of us at such a time as this. So much is happening around the world. I have been picking on key news stories because Babylon is fallen, and we're starting to see the major repercussions of that. But today, the special message is that the messiahs are here, beloveds. The saviors are here. The female messiah is here. The male messiah, the black male messiah is here. There are many saviors that are walking around us today, the ancestors and the ancient ones, but they're not here to save you. And that's something that the ancient ones want us to totally, fully grasp, overstand, and understand. No one is coming to save us, beloveds. They're coming to save Mama Earth and take care of the cleanup of Mama Earth and energetically help her to heal. She's the one that called them in. She's the one that asked for help. And it is our responsibility as many sons of the highest creator, as creators in our own right, to do the necessary work to save ourselves. And I think that is one of the things that is really delaying a lot of people from starting the journey of their spiritual awakening and starting to kind of clean up their own lives. It's like, Yah is coming, Yahshua is coming. No one's coming for you. They're already here doing the necessary work in the spiritual realms. Remember, spirit creates reality. Whatever is happening there, the wars that have been happening there, they've reached like a crescendo. They've reached like, the final part, and we're going to start to see the ripple effects right here. And that's why, there's so much change and upheaval. It's the end of an age, beloveds, and the beginning of a new one. Like the theatrics of mankind.
Okay. So it seemed like to me she kind of going off to the left last couple of this last year or so.
Yep.
Starting to do the most. I mean, I'm lost on that one. Okay. So anybody got anything else before I start? I'm gonna read something out of Hosea before I close out. Anybody got anything? Yeah, like I said before, you get a chance to watch that Uncle Tom's Cabin, and like I had mentioned a couple of something else to bounce off of that we would, it's Amistad. I don't know who all watched that, but Amistad, and then 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, especially 12 Years a Slave, because it kind of, to me, it's got some of the similar type of event scenes in there. Not as graphic as Uncle Tom's Cabin, but somewhat.
That's goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Yeah, goodbye.
Right.
Goodbye. Right. So yeah, so we watch even in what the movie with Nat Turner, the last one, Some Nation. What's the name of the movie with Nat Turner? The last one?
Birth of a Nation.
Yeah, Birth of a Nation. They had a scene in there where they knocked the guy's teeth out, and the guy force-fed him, knocked his teeth out, and put a funnel down in his mouth. Yeah. Okay. So those three movies are good movies to watch in relation to that. So I'm in Hosea. Starting at verse 1. Hosea chapter 1, verse 1 says, the word of the Lord that came unto Hosea, the son of Beri, in the days of Uzi, Jotham, Ahaz, Hezekiah, kings of Judah, in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord, it says, and the Lord said to Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of whoredom, and the children of whoredom, for the land has committed a great whoredom, departing from the Lord. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Delah, which conceived and bore him a son. And the Lord said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bore a daughter. God said unto him, call her name Luhuma, I can't say that name, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and I will save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by the bow, or by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. Now, when she had weaned Ruma, she conceived and bore a son. Then said God, call his name Lo-Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sands of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and they appoint themselves one head. And they shall come up out of the land for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Okay, so let's look at that. I mean, this verse 1. So you see how the Lord of hosts told Hosea to go and get a wife, and he said go and get a woman, a promiscuous woman. And so he went and got Gomer, but she bore him 3 children, right? He bore him 3 children, right?
Right.
So let's look at that, because like I said, people want to look. So we read that right there plain. It says in verse says in verse 4, he said she had a son, he said name him Jezreel. Then she had a daughter, he said name her this I don't know how to pronounce that name, Luruma. And then he had another son, he said name him Laami, right? So she got 3 children, right? So let's go to hold that page, go to Isaiah right quick. Isaiah chapter 7. Just, it's a perfect time to shine light on this. Okay, I'm in chapter 7, right? So we just read it over there. Plain. It was plain. He had 3 children, right? So we over here in Isaiah chapter 7. I'm reading verse 1. I'm starting at verse 1. Came to pass in the days of Ahaz, son of Jotham, son of Uzi, king of Judah, that Rezin, king of Syria, and Pecan, son of Remaliah, king of Israel, went up toward Jerusalem to war against it, but he could not prevail, right? And it was told the house of David, saying, Syria is confederate with Ephraim, and his heart was moved, and the heart of his people, as the trees of the woods are moved in the wind, right? Now here we go. 3. Then said the Lord, just like he said to Hosea, he's talking to Isaiah right here. Then said the Lord unto Hosea, go forth now and meet Ahaz, thou and look. See this boy? That's one of thy son. See that? So they can see the children over there in Hosea, but they can't see these. So he says, this one of his sons right here. Say at the end of the conduit, the upper pool of the highway, right? Say and say unto him, take heed and be quiet, fear not, neither be thou faint-hearted, for the or the two tails of these smoking brands, or for the fierce anger of Rezin, Syria, the son of Remaliah. So they go one son. Then we go to verse 10. Moreover, the Lord spake again unto Ahaz, saying, Ask thee a sign of the Lord thy God. Ask thee either in the depths or in the heights above. But Ahaz said, I will not ask, neither will I tempt the Lord. Right? So he refused to tempt the Lord of hosts. He's scared. 13. And he said, Isaiah told Ahaz, he said, Hear now, O house of David, it is a small thing for you to weary men, but ye will weary my God also. Now, here we go. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, see that? This ain't got nothing to do with the future. You already got one son over there in verse 3. 14. Therefore, the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel. Ain't that what he said? Ain't that what he did over in Hosea? Same thing. This ain't nobody in the future. So this what's going on right now. It's two kings coming against Judah. So he says, 14. Therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, shall call his name Emmanuel. That's the second son. And then just for GP, 15. The second son, Emmanuel, 15. Butter and honey shall he eat, that he may know to refuse the evil and choose the good. For before the child shall know to refuse the evil and choose the good, the land of the thou abhorrest shall be forsaken of both kings. That's where we started. There's two kings coming up against Israel. This kid right here in verse 14 ain't got nothing to do with nobody coming in the future and dying on no cross. Calling him Emmanuel, right? So he told him in verse 14, therefore the Lord himself shall give you a sign. Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son. So immediately Isaiah got to go and perform that, because we got to find out who this virgin is that's going to conceive and have this boy named Emmanuel. So verse 8, chapter 8, verse 1. Moreover, the Lord said unto me, take thee a great roll and write upon it with a man's pen concerning Mashkabah, this is the other boy, and take unto to me a faithful witness and to Uriah, the priest, and Zechariah, the son of Job. And I went unto the prophets. They go the virgin right there. That's his wife. And I went to the prophetess. She conceived and bore a son. And then the Lord said unto me, call his name. See that name right there? So then, verse 18. You can read this whole chapter on your own and compare it to Hosea chapter 1. It says, 18, behold, Isaiah talking, I and the children. I showed you the children. One of them is Emmanuel in verse 14 that they're telling you with JC. So 18, behold, I and the children whom the Lord have given me are for signs and wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts. We see who bringing the keys for which dwells in Mount Zion. So I'm back over in Hosea. So see that? I mean, it's like I said, it's ridiculous. When you keep on when somebody trying to hold on to JC, when you look at this, just this right here, it's sad. So we see right here with Hosea, Gomer had 3 children, and over here with Isaiah had 3 children. They for signs. They ain't got nothing to do with nobody in the future. It's coming with no dying on no cross. So I will read one more chapter. So it says, the Lord's love for his unfaithful people. So let's look at that. So he told Hosea to go get a wife, an unfaithful wife, which was Gomer. Israel was married to the Lord of hosts. And it says the Lord's love for his unfaithful people, which is his unfaithful wife. Israel is his wife. So say ye unto your brother Amina, and to your sisters Rumala, plead with your mother, plead with for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts, lest I strip her naked. See that? You can't take this and make it no symbology. lest I strip her naked and set her as in the day that she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whore. See that? For their mother have played the harlot; she hath conceived them. She that conceived them have done shamefully. For she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flex, mine oil and my drink. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up the way with thorns and make a wall, that she shall not find her path, and she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them, and she shall seek them, but she shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now. And she did not know I gave her corn and wine and oil. This is what we just talking about in the video, the movie. And multiplied her silver and her gold, which they prepared for Baal. Therefore will I return, take away my corn in the time thereof, and my wine in the season thereof, and I will recover my wool and my flex given to cover her nakedness. And now will I discover her lewdness in the sight of all her lovers, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. And I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moons, her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. And I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, whereof she hath said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the beasts of the field shall eat them, and I will visit upon her the days of Balaam, when she burned incense to them, and she decked herself with her earrings and with her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, said the Lord. Say, therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her, and I will give her vineyards from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope. And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as in the days when she came out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Issa, and shall call me no more Bali, for I will take away the names of Balaam out of her mouth, and they shall no more remember by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth, and I will make them to lie down safely. And I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, and I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. And I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know the Lord. And it shall come to pass in that day I will hear, says the Lord, and I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth, and the earth shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel, and I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy unto her that I had not obtained mercy, and I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God. Okay? Anybody get anything out of that?
That's another version of Deuteronomy 28.
Exactly. It's also, you can tie this to what we just read about Isaiah, about the daughters of Zion. So, I'm going to read, it's only, this is another sign right there. I'm telling you how they tamper with the book. There's only 5 verses in this chapter. That's crazy. So they done took out some. So chapter 3 says, then said the Lord unto me, go yet, love a woman, the love of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Lord toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. So I brought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for armor of barley, and a half armor of barley. And I said unto her, Thou shalt abide for me many days, and thou shalt not play the harlot, and thou shalt not be to another man. So will I also be for thee. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Afterwards shall the children of Israel return, seek the Lord their God, and David their king, and shall fear the Lord and his goodness in the latter days. So I don't know about nobody else, but see how that's out of context? It's like they just stuck that in there. And then it's only 5 verses. See that?
So you mean it's missing some scriptures?
Yeah, then it's the way they came in with it. It would to me, right? It says, then said the Lord unto me, go ye, love a woman, beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Lord toward the children of Israel. So I brought her to me 15 pieces of silver. That would seem like to me that would be before chapter 1, verse 1. To the word of the Lord that came unto Hosea, the son of Berai, in the days of Uzi, Jotham, Hezekiah, king of Jews, in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. The Lord said to Hosea, Go, take unto thee a wife of whoredom, and children of whoredom, for the land have committed great whoredom, departing from the Lord. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of so it's like see what I'm saying? That's already been said over in verse 1. You see that?
So they just totally took out chapter 3 and just threw something in there. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you threw something else in there, right? Yeah. And I was showing you that. In I mean, you got to research it on your own, but I was showing you that how they did the same thing over in Revelations. You can see where the part that was there and the part that they stuck in there. So yeah, that's the way to right divide it. It ain't adding up. It says chapter 4. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord have a controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, nor mercy, nor knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying, and killing and stealing, committing adultery, they break out and blood touch blood. Therefore shall the land be mourned, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yea, and the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away. So this right here would go before verse chapter 3. He says the Lord got a controversy with Israel, right? And because Israel playing the harlot. So we would read this, then he would say, then said the Lord unto me, after he explained that he got a controversy with Israel, then he would say, then said the Lord unto me, go yet, love a woman, we love her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of the Lord toward the children of Israel who look to other gods. See what I'm saying? Anybody see that?
Yeah, I see that. That's making a clear point here.
Right. He telling at first, especially he talking to us, he's saying first, he got controversy with Israel because Israel playing the harlot. Then he comes and tells Hosea, because I want you to understand me, what happened, what reason I'm doing what I'm doing to Israel, but first I want you to get you a harlot. And I want her to play around on you. And then I want you to see what's going on, reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. See that? So it's out of
That
context.
makes sense. Right.
Right. So they didn't flip it all off. There's a reason why they're doing it, because why would you tamper with that? But it's the reason why they're doing it. They flipped it off, and then, like I said, it's obvious. 5 verses. Come on, you just cut it off in 5 verses. Yeah. So, like I said, you want to read that, then we can discuss it on Wednesday a little bit. But you got to read the whole thing. Maybe I can get some feedback from somebody else. But the storyline is that later on, Hosea found out none of them 3 children I just mentioned in verse 1 was his.
Dang.
They for other men. So that's what he wanted Hosea to find out. He wanted to feel, to see how he felt. He went and got him a woman from Egypt and brought her back to where he lived at and gave her everything she needed, and she started turning to other gods, all up on other mountains, worshiping other gods, and other high places. So that's what he wanted Hosea to understand. Right. Okay. So anybody familiar with Hosea, the book of Hosea?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So read it. I mean, it's only like about 6-7 chapters in there. We can take some time out Wednesday and go into it. Because, like I said, maybe you guys can find some stuff in there that that we can bring out, talk about. Okay. So, with that being said, I'm open it up. Anybody got anything before we go? Any questions or comments about anything before we leave?
Before we leave, Brother Leonard, can you tell us about how the storm went for you?
Oh, it didn't happen. It didn't come our way. They when it first started, they first announced and all that. They had everybody running and getting provisions and stuff, but all of a sudden it made a turn and it didn't come toward us. I mean, I maybe got some little breezes. I don't even know if that came off of it, but that's all we got down here was a little breeze and a little spotty rain. So far.
Lord of hosts had y'all protected.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's going to most definitely hit our area in Huntsville, but it's probably heading towards Gladys too. So are you ready, Gladys?
We don't usually get that much of it. We'll get a little breeze, some little rain, but by the time it makes it to us, it's usually pretty tame.
Well, that's good. You're not part of Tornado Alley, are you?
No, thank God. That tornado usually hops right on over us. I'm near Millington. I'm near the Arkansas Bridge, the Mississippi River. So a lot of it just skips around us. So I'm in a pretty good area right now. So yeah.
I don't know why I thought you was around Lebanon and those areas around Nashville, going in Carter and those areas around Nashville. So I got it mixed up.
Oh no, sir. I'm in the Memphis. I'm in the M-Town.
The second best barbecue, right?
Beg your pardon, sir.
Okay.
All right, okay. I'll have nothing else to say.
Okay. So, anybody else got anything? Everybody good?
Good class.
Okay.
Fantastic.
So we'll pick this up on we got the men's advanced Bible study tomorrow, and then we see everybody back here on Wednesday at 7:00. So let me get this right quick. So I'm gonna say shalom. I'll see everybody. Like I said, back together on Wednesday at 7 o'clock.
Shalom, beautiful brothers and sisters. Shalom.
Shalom,
What's that?
fam.
Shalom, everyone.
Okay.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom.